Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Yuba Probation Podcast, episode number 2. We officially have a podcast series when you got more than 2 episodes. I'd like to thank everyone who's returning, who watched last month's episode with Chief Jim Arnold. Truly appreciate you guys tuning in again. Please make sure on YouTube and Spotify that you like and share and comment and subscribe to the Yuba County Probation Department YouTube channel, as well as the County of Yuba's channel, where we're going to be putting out lots of new content and information for you guys. On Facebook, we've put out that if you ever want any questions answered here on the podcast, to reach out on Facebook and we will gladly answer them. I am honored today to have not just a senior victim advocate, but the OG senior victim advocate, Terri Ayers, and her 2 delightful emotional support dogs, Etha and Nanu. And it's a very special day because it's Nanu's birthday.
This is Nanu. It's her 1-year birthday.
Yes.
Just turned a year old today.
Right. And Etha is being a little camera shy. She's laying down here. She's the older of the 2. So Terri, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful.
Thank you for agreeing.
For a Tuesday.
For a Tuesday.
Okay, yes.
Right. We're going to release this on Friday, April the 1st, but we're recording it on a Tuesday. No courts on Tuesdays usually, so that's good. Usually. All right. Thank you for coming on. Let's start talking about, first things first, what do you do at Victim Services?
Well, I am a victim advocate. So basically we get crime reports in from our law enforcement agencies in Yuba County, and we make contact mostly with our violent crime cases. We'll make telephone contact or send letters. And we let them know about court cases, what the charges are going to be, if there's charges going to be filed. We go to court with our clients. If they have to testify on a criminal case, we'll go to court with them and sit with them at the witness stand and just basically be a support person.
Okay. And you actually go into the courtroom with them.
Yes.
And meet with them before and after court dates and everything like that.
Yes.
What are some of the more challenging aspects of your job?
The more challenging is, I think, is going through jury trials, because jury trials have a mind of their own, and people make their decisions about truth or lies. And sometimes it's really difficult when you have a victim up on the stand, you know, explaining what happened to them, and very emotional, and then sometimes the juries come back with a not guilty. So those are very frustrating times.
That'd be very frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Okay, so on top of there being victim advocates at Victim Services, they also provide counseling services. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Our agency, first of all, we are probation department based. We're not district attorney's office based. So I think we're one of 2 victim services programs in California that are probation based.
Okay.
Love being probation based. We work really close with our district attorney's office. And years ago, probably almost 30 years ago, Sandy Fondley, who was our coordinator at that time, she came up with a program to offer counseling services for our victims. So a lot of times when the crime first occurs, it's a crisis. So you have nobody to talk to help you through that crisis. So she started up a treatment program for people in crisis about a crime, and they can come in and speak with and meet with a therapist. Okay. So I'm not for sure if there's any other agencies in California that have their actually own in-house treatment program.
Okay, so something purely unique maybe.
Yes.
To the County of Yuba. And then just a little bit more, nothing too technical, but explain the victim service fund that helps pay for that. Right,
so the California Victim Compensation Program, which is where we complete applications for that program. You have to be a victim of a crime. So you have to be, say, a domestic violence victim, an assault victim, a rape victim, or a homicide victim. We can get you eligible for victim compensation funding. So what that entails is like counseling services. So that being a victim of a crime, you don't have to pay out of pocket for things like that. Mm-hmm. And on homicide cases, if you qualify for that part of the program, it will cover funeral burial costs.
Gotcha.
And then there's also a component in victim compensation that covers relocation. So if you're a victim of a violent crime and you feel you need to move from your residence to be safe, get away from the perpetrator so they don't know where you're at, there's just an application process to get you eligible for that part of it as well. And they reimburse up to $2,000 for relocating.
Okay.
Bus tickets, plane tickets, rent, U-Hauls, things like that.
Gotcha. And you, as a victim advocate, are responsible for linking the victim up with those sorts of things and
Yes.
making sure.
Yeah.
It's a huge responsibility and a huge benefit to the citizens of Yuba County who unfortunately do find themselves being the victims of violent crime,
Yeah.
to have a victim advocate on their side. When did you start with victim services, but I think probably more importantly, when did victim services start and who was there day one?
Well, it wasn't Sandy Fondley. I believe it was Mike Barber that
Okay.
originated, and then Sandy Fondley followed, and she and Angie Martinez.
Okay.
And then I came aboard after that. So I've been with them for 32 years, 33 years maybe.
33 years as a
Yeah.
victim advocate.
Yes.
You've definitely seen the program grow. We have,
I have.
much more than just 3 people providing victim services now.
Yes, we do. I mean, I do a lot of the violent crimes, and then we have Liz Rodriguez that handles all the child cases, the assault cases with children, the molest cases, the child abuse cases. And then we've got John, who covers some of the violent crime cases, and then he does property crimes. And then Shelley's here with us, and she's helping out wherever she can on that part.
Gotcha. So a lot of people out there doing a lot of good work,
We try.
trying to help
And then we have
victims.
3 therapists.
3 therapists.
3 therapists.
Right. So a lot of service can be provided there. Tell us all what we want to know. Where do the dogs fit into the equation?
Well, they started off, I started the program, our main girl, Tuscany Blue, is not with us anymore since October, but she started the program, she was 8 months old when I started the program with her, about wanting a comfort dog in the court process to help victims if they have to testify, and just be with them and be there so that they can pet them and just feel comforted by them. And so she started the program out, and then these 2 came along. Etha came along, and she's 4 years old now. And then little Nanu just turned a year old today. And then we have Ruger, and he's a black lab, and I think he's 18 months old. So it's basically to help a victim when they're sitting there in court. They can reach down and pet them. If they're sitting on the stand, if they have to testify, the dogs can be there. So as a support person to a victim that's testifying, I can't talk to them or touch them or say anything to them at all. But if they're feeling anxious or anything like that, they can reach down and pet the dogs.
All right. How many trials would you estimate and court cases did Tusca end up
Well,
helping
for
on?
10 years.
10 years of
So
court case.
10 years of jury trial and preliminary hearings.
Okay.
A lot.
And there's, sometimes up to a dozen of those in a week, right?
Not that many, but
No?
you've got Monday courts, Wednesday courts, and Friday courts.
Okay.
So
So years
definitely
and years.
3 times a week.
Years. How many times would you say that Tusca, Etha, and Nanu have just helped out Yuba County Probation Department employees?
A lot. Every time they come around, everybody loves seeing them and wants to pet them and then give them treats.
Yeah.
They love treats.
They have a regular track. They've worn
They
holes
do.
in the carpet going to offices that they know there are
Yes.
treats.
Between you guys and the DA's office, they know right where to go.
They know right where to go.
Yes, they do.
Nanu, you're doing so good. Just hang out there, darling.
I know, you're fine. Okay.
All right. So we were talking earlier off camera, and I think it's a kind of an interesting story and relevant because it's upcoming, the 30th anniversary of Lindhurst. Talk about the role that you specifically had, but Victim Services had during the Lindhurst High School shooting that happened in 1992.
Lindhurst High School, so that was basically, I think I'd only been there about 2 years, going on 2 years when that happened. So it was Sandy and Angie and I think one more person. And it was pretty much one of the most devastating things I've ever had to go through, because you're dealing with families on the onset that didn't know where their children were or if they were safe or not, because he had held, like, I'm probably going to get the numbers wrong, but about 80 students hostage that time period, during that time period. So there was a lot of parents that didn't know where their children were for a really long time. And after everything happened, I pretty much stayed on the campus for almost 2 years after that. Just like twice a week, be out there talking to the kids that were held hostage and the ones that we knew that were going to have to testify.
Okay.
Helping them all through that part of it.
And at the time, was Victim Services out on Dan Avenue in Allhurst?
We were in Marysville on 14th Street.
On 14th Street, over by the Juvenile Hall?
Oh, by Juvenile Hall, yeah.
Okay.
That's where we were for quite a few years.
And then, when did the move to Dan Avenue happen?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd probably been there about 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
I don't know. We were at 14th Street for quite a while. We were at the courthouse, and then we moved to 14th Street, and then we moved to Dan Avenue, and now we're on 6th Street.
Yeah, you guys been on 6th Street for 3 or 4 years now?
Probably about 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years, maybe?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember when you guys moved, it was nice having you guys so close instead of all the way out on
It's
Davin
very
Avenue from
nice.
the courthouse.
You just have to walk across the street instead of driving into town 2 or 3 times a day.
Yes, it makes it easier for you guys to go to court and then obviously checking with us. You touched on it earlier that Yuba County Victim Services is attached to the probation department, and that is not the norm
It is not.
in the state of California. What are some of the advantages of being attached to probation?
Being attached to probation is, I feel like, because being a victim of a crime, you have a right to your confidentiality. And so anybody that walks through our doors, it's confidential. So being with probation department, and we don't have to give away everything that a victim tells us that happened, or if they want to tell us what happened, we don't have to tell the DA's office everything, unless the victim wants us to. If they say, no, please let them know this, or this happened, and so a lot of times we'll say, you need to report that to law enforcement, so to get it on record, so we can help you as best we can to make you safe, to help get you safety. So I think the biggest thing is that we work really close with our district attorney's office and working with the deputy DAs and the DA on the cases. And I feel like our clients know that what they're coming to us for is confidential.
Okay.
And we're working for them versus having the DA as our boss.
Right.
But although we work really close with the DA's office, and we love our relationship with our DA's office.
Okay.
I think it works very well.
And do you feel like, I mean, obviously then it's about respect for the victim.
Yes.
Being able to keep the confidentiality and work them into a place where if they weren't ready to tell that story, maybe they could tell that story. And if they don't ever get to that place, being able to safeguard them a little bit from forces that may bombard them.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah. That's
Okay.
it.
Was there any, I mean, obviously Lindhurst is one of them. Is there any major cases that you remember providing services for that really stick with you?
There's a lot, on a lot of the homicide cases, those are the hardest ones, I think, because sometimes those cases go for a couple years, and you're working with the family of the survivors for that 2 to 3 years while the case is going through court. So you have a rapport with them. It's almost like being family.
Okay.
They're either happy to see you or not happy to see you. I have one of the moms from the Lindhurst case, and every time I run into her, she goes, "I love you, Terry, but I hate seeing you." And I go, "I get it. I totally get it."
Right. Brings back that rush of memories.
It does. It does. So those are tough because you have a closeness with these families through the most tragic part of their lives, and being there to try to help them through the system, because not everybody knows what happens in a criminal system in the courts, and so being there as an advocate for those families, it helps them understand what's going on in that courtroom.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
different language.
Yes, if you work in law enforcement every day and you're in the courts every day, you know, things like preliminary hearing and some of the other, you know, pre-trial conference and, you know, the motions and all that stuff that happen in court, or
it gets confusing.
Really just the dance of a courtroom. It's definitely not like Law and Order where it's very sterile and like organized. Sometimes it can be quite hectic.
It is, and I explain to everybody, my people that I deal with, is that court is totally different than TV. Totally different. Jury trials, it's not like what you see on TV.
No.
Totally different.
No, that's something I had to learn as a young probation officer. The first time I went to court, I was thinking, it's very sterile, like Law and Order. Like they call one case at a time, and sometimes it's like, okay, who's next? I got one, Your Honor, and then they call that case right then and there.
Doesn't go by alphabetically.
No, definitely does not go by alphabetically. Okay. They're just so cute. They're distracting. I look down, ready to ask a question, and I just want to pet Etha all the time. She normally doesn't come to us in the office.
I know.
Yeah, she's being so good. Both you guys are being so good. Thank you. So Terri, you don't just help out at Victim Services. What else do you do for the County of Yuba?
Well, for the County of Yuba, actually, mainly for the Sheriff's Department, I am involved with our Search and Rescue Group. And I've been with the Search and Rescue Group just about as long as I have with Victim Services.
Okay.
So I am there, right now I'm called their SAR manager. And so we have over 50 members right now.
Okay. SAR being Search and Rescue?
Search and Rescue,
okay.
Yes. So we do Search and Rescue, we do community events, we got some funding and set up our evacuation center at our Sheriff's Posse Arena in Browns Valley. So hopefully there'll never be a fire that we need it for, but if there is, we have pins set up and we're ready to go. Yeah,
it's quite the operation. I know when the probation department was asked to come help with the Cascade Fire,
yes,
escorting Search and Rescue and the posse around to locate animals that needed to be taken in-house.
You guys were great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Truth be told, I don't do large mammals well, so that was a little scary for me, but it was truly amazing to see the amount of volunteers. So correct me if I'm wrong, the Posse is currently 100% volunteer?
We've always been 100% volunteer. So started out as just a mounted group, but we have evolved. And so we have mounted, which is equine horses, and we have quads, side-by-sides. We have a dog team coming into play right now. Right now we have 5 members with canines for searches. And so we're really getting very diversified. We get called out on mutual aid a lot. In the fires, wasn't search and rescue type, but we were going out and picking up large animals, horses, things like that, and that way we can keep them at the arena, get food donated for however long that we have to keep them. And each member, we have our own vehicles, our own trucks, our own horse trailers. It's our own stuff that we use.
Okay.
We do with the Sheriff's Posse now, Search and Rescue, we do have some vehicles, and we just purchased a big stock trailer. So we're getting on board with stuff like that.
Gotcha. Be able to provide services when needed, hopefully never, but if we had to, they'd all be there, right?
Yeah, and we have a really nice command post. It's a trailer that has our computers, and anytime we get called out on a search in our area, we can use our command post and get it going and print out maps and get segmented, and that way we can help our searchers get out there to start searching for that lost person.
Okay.
Faster. So yes, so I do volunteer for that.
Well, that has to keep you very busy, but it
does.
I think really speaks to you as a person. Not only do you spend all day trying to help out the citizens of Yuba County,
thank you.
You then go out of your way to be a part of the search and rescue and everything else. What are some qualities or traits that a person who wants to be a victim advocate needs to have?
I think a victim advocate has to have compassion and patience. Patience is very important. Patience is important in dealing with the criminal justice system. You need to know something about the criminal justice system.
Okay.
It's really important because if you're going to advocate for a client and you're going to be sitting in a courtroom listening to attorneys talking back and forth and judges making their decisions, you need to know what crime codes are and what they're talking about. That would be a really important aspect to have.
Okay. It sounds like the kind of job where you could experience what's starting to become a little more well-known, like compassion fatigue.
You
right?
could,
You could,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Because you're dealing with secondhand trauma a lot.
Yes.
You know, you're dealing with people who are unfortunately the victims of violent crimes, families of homicide victims. Obviously, sexual assaults are terrible things, and it has to be very challenging to someone to provide services to the victim of that, you know.
Yes.
I know I tend to be a big emotional beast when it comes to that kind of stuff, and I don't know that I could calmly support someone through something like that. So
It gets difficult, and we do have a sexual assault response team as well. Liz and I mostly are on that. So when law enforcement gets a call for a child sexual assault case or an adult sexual assault case, we'll go out, meet with the victims, and talk them through the whole process of getting an exam done. So that way we're with that person right from the beginning to the very end.
Okay.
When prosecution starts up and court goes and to the end of it. So we advocate for them the whole way.
Okay. So given just the amount of brain power, headspace that this kind of stuff keeps up, what do you do to unwind? What do you do for you? What do you do for your own self-care? Yes.
I ride my horse as much as possible.
All right. Tell me about this horse.
Horsey person. I have 4, but I ride 2 of them. And then my one horse I've had, he turned 36 this year.
36 years old.
He's the horse I started in the sheriff's posse with.
All right. And you were telling me that 36 is kind of
That's old, yeah.
long in the tooth for a horse.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
But he does great. He's wonderful.
And what's his name?
Taro.
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 And when's Taro's birthday?
Oh, gosh. I think he turned 36 in February.
Okay.
Yeah, he turned 36 in February,
celebrated.
So just recent, yeah.
You also just recently celebrated your
Yes,
birthday.
I did.
Yes. And you also explained to me your mom's birthday. It's a
Yep.
whole, March is a busy,
March
February,
is a
March-
busy month for us,
All right.
my family. We have birthdays in March.
Okay. So April is also a busy month
Yes.
for victim services, and I would like for you to tell us about the annual Candlelight Vigil that we do at Victim Services.
So this year will be our 31st annual Candlelight Vigil. The last couple years have had to be virtual because of COVID going on. This year, everything got lifted too late for us to be able to have it in person again. So it's going to be virtual again, and we'll have it out on our page on Facebook. It's going to be, so National Crime Victims' Rights Week is April 24th through the 30th. Our vigil is going to be on April 24th. It's on a Sunday. It'll be at 6 o'clock in the evening, and it's going to be virtual.
Virtual?
So
On Facebook Live?
It'll be on Facebook Live.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different than being in person. When we have it in person, we have a lot of speakers. We have homicide victim families, survivors, and their families and friends there. We do the program, and during the program there's a slideshow of all the pictures of the family members that people have lost, and they go through that part of it, and then we say names, and balloons are lifted or released, and then we have a moment of silence when we light candles. And then if anybody wants to speak after that, that's an open mic for people to speak. It's a really, really nice program, and we haven't been able to have it for the last couple of years. So hopefully next year we'll be back up and running in person.
I will admit I've attended it a few times live. It is emotional.
Very emotional.
It is emotional. Without any skin in the game, I felt emotion. Yeah.
So that's the part where, we're dealing with these families for years, because most of them will come to that, and now most of them, that's the only time I see them anymore is when they come to our vigil. So, but it's like, hugs and how are you, and it's just like being family.
Okay. So some of the stuff that we talked about, like beforehand, that I wanted to make sure we touch. You were born and raised in Yuba County, huh?
Born and raised I was born in San Francisco, but raised in Yuba County.
You were born in San Francisco?
San Francisco.
You did not tell me that in the pre-show.
I didn't tell you that, did I?
Might have had some jokes for you prepared had you told me you were born in San Francisco.
I wasn't there very long.
No?
No.
When did you come to Yuba County?
No, I was a baby, infant.
Infant.
My mom was raised here.
Okay.
But we were in San Francisco, but basically we were raised here in Yuba County.
Okay. And you graduated from?
Lindhurst High School.
Lindhurst High School.
One of the third graduating class, I believe.
Third graduating class. So that opened in 76, correct?
76.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, you're aging me. Thank you.
The Yuba County.
I graduated in 78.
Okay. Yuba County roots run deep.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
yes,
you're the
they
one
do.
that brought up the third.
I did,
the third
didn't I?
graduating class. I didn't bring that up.
Third, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Let's see.
Oh, it was great because we got to choose the colors. Because this is a brand new high school. We got to choose the colors and the logos and all that kind of stuff, so it was pretty neat.
Okay. What else would you like people to know about victim services?
That we're there for the community, and we're there if you're a victim of a crime. We're there to try to help you through the system and help you out as best we can and refer you to services wherever we're able to do. Okay. So we're there for you, for the people. Gotcha.
If people wanted to know more, could they reach out to you?
Of course.
Of course.
Yes.
So Terri Ayers, guys, at Yuba County Probation Victim Services.
Yes.
Terri, I very much want to thank you for coming on the podcast and bringing.
You're welcome. Bringing the girls.
The girls, the cuties.
Come here.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Just a few things. We will be having the Candlelight Vigil, as mentioned, on April 24th. It will be on Facebook Live, so please tune in.
At 6:30.
It's 6:30. Also, this month, the Probation Department will be participating in the Child Abuse Awareness Month. We'll be wearing blues every Friday. You guys will be wearing blue over there on Friday?
Yes.
And we also, this Friday, April the 1st, will be, I believe it's Honk It Out or Sound It Out for child abuse, where we're going to make a bunch of noise for 10 seconds right at noon and then have a 30-second moment of silence. So if you're in the Marysville, Yuba County area and you hear a bunch of sirens and noise, I think the schools are ringing all their bells.
And you'll be in our parking lot.
I will be in your parking lot, probably screaming my head off.
Yes.
Or hopefully like the sheriff's department will come. We can actually turn on some sirens.
Yes,
I think
that would be good.
A little better than hearing me shriek in a parking lot for 10 seconds. Also, the probation department will be doing Dia de los Niños, the Day of the Child. I believe that's at the end of April. I don't know the exact date. So be there for that. The Yuba County Probation Department would like to wish everyone a very happy Easter. Easter's just a few weeks away, and this will be our April episode. Thank you guys for tuning in again. We'll be back next month, hopefully with someone from our Tri-County Juvenile Hall, talking more about institutions. And as always, if you have questions, comments, comment on YouTube, reach out to us on Facebook, or send us an email at probation@co.yuba.ca.us. Thank you guys, and have a great day.